right, welcome everyone. I'm Julie DeBoer. I am your host today, and I'm one of the founders of Mastrius. If you're new, welcome. We're so glad to have you. We're going to get started here with Lynn in a minute. Some of you, I think, are probably already working with her in a mentorship group. Debbie, are you her navigator, or are you?
I'm her navigator. Yeah, we haven't started yet. We have a meet the mentor on Monday. If anybody wants to join us, it's 5 p.m. Mountain Time
On
Monday.
Monday, and that's a free event.
Exactly.
And that will end up on our YouTube channel. Perfect. And then yeah, Lynn's mentorship group launches November 20th, which is on a Monday, 11:30 to 1:30 Mountain Time. But anyways, we can talk more about that later. Lynn, we're so thrilled. We'll be doing a demo for us today. Let me spotlight you. Lynn joins us from, oh, I forget where you from. Oh, you're muted. So now you're both muted. So if you turn on your computer sound, that should work.
How's that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where are you located?
I'm in the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia.
Okay, cool. And now we have a bit of an echo, but that's okay. All right, do you want to, that one's muted. What happens sometimes is just because they're both logged in, there might be a bit of an echo. We'll figure it out. So tell us a little bit about what we're doing today, Lynn.
Okay. Let me see what, maybe I can mute this one. Oh, it says it's muted.
Yeah, it is muted. It's not too bad. Go for it.
Let me unmute this.
Okay, try that way. While Lynn is doing that, I will share a bit about this event if you're new. The painting challenge is a two-part event. So today, Lynn is going to do a 1-hour demo for us. And then next week, Friday, we're going to meet back here, same time, for our artist showcase. So you are welcome to paint along with Lynn today, or just watch and then paint this week. And then if you would like, we would love it if you shared your painting image with us so we can share it in our showcase next week. So when you're done the painting, and we encourage you to do it in your style, your medium, and take all the artistic license you want, and then share it with us. You can email it to ginger@mastrius.com. I'll put that in the chat. And then she's going to gather them up. And then next week, Friday, we're going to meet back here with Lynn for a 1-hour showcase, and we're going to share everyone's work. And the highlight of that event is that it's so amazing to see how different everyone interprets, if we're working from the same reference photo, how unique everyone's artwork will be. And that's something that we really celebrate at Mastrius. We don't want to create more Lynn Metas. We want you to find your style, your artistic voice, and that's something that we are all kind of pursuing together. So next week is a lot of fun, and then we'll go over everyone's paintings for a few minutes each. And we also have prizes next week. So for a Mastrius member, we're going to give away a Mastrius painting apron. And if there are non-members, we're going to give away a 1-month recording library membership. We have a huge library of videos of our weekly events. We do critiques, demos, panel discussions, artist interviews, and there's a library of them you'll get access to for a whole month, and you can binge watch. It's just hours and hours of goodness. So we'll give those away next week. All right, Lynn, give it a try. Let's see if we can hear you. No, I can't hear you. Let's see your.
How about now?
Yes, but it's echoing a bit. Just go ahead with it. And if it gets really bad, we'll just switch over to your phone.
Okay. You know what? I think it's
that one's still muted.
Okay.
It's still muted?
Yeah, no, it's muted. It's okay, Lynn. It's muted.
It's muted. You can't hear me?
I can hear you from the table, but not from your phone.
Oh.
Just ignore the echo. Sometimes it's just there.
Okay.
We might be
You know
able
what,
to,
maybe if I just turn it down.
yeah, that
How's
might work.
that?
Yeah,
Is that better?
yeah, that is better. Good
Okay, I can barely
call.
hear you, but let me see if I can do something about that.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
now
Can you hear me now?
Why am I? Maybe turn me back down. Oh, there it stopped. Oh, isn't technology just spooky sometimes? Okay.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, and you can hear me?
I can hear you. Just
Okay, perfect.
barely. Okay.
Let's dive in. All right. Give us a little brief overview of what we're going to be doing, and then we'll dive into the demo.
Okay, so can you see the what we're painting? What I'm
Yeah, I'll
painting?
spotlight this here.
So basically, I've painted this before, and I don't have the painting, but you have an image of it, and this is the photograph. And this is a little sketch that I did.
Okay.
It's Sharpie. Okay.
Yep.
Here, I don't usually paint vertically. I paint in a palette, but I just put this up so everybody can see it. Okay. How's the video on that? Let me see if I can't get it just a little bit better for you guys.
All right, and I'm going to put the link to the reference photo in the chat. There it is. We're getting
Okay, can you still hear?
Now it's echoing.
Now it's
You can turn the volume back down on your phone.
That better? That's worse.
Maybe it's me.
Gosh. Well, I have it. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Go for it. Let's not play with anything. I don't want to wreck it.
Okay, it works now. You can hear me and I can hear you.
Yeah, perfect. Sorry guys, sometimes we did log on early, but sometimes these things are finicky. Okay,
Okay.
let's just dive in, Lynn, or we're gonna run out of time.
All righty. So basically, and this is my what I'm going to work on. It's a piece of linen that I've taped to the board, and basically, when I look at painting from a photograph, which is what I originally did, and this is the photographic reference that I used. I'm an outdoor painter for much of the time, and I paint from life, so I kind of know sort of, or I'm learning. I'm always learning about the world around me. So when I look at a photo, I kind of try to remember what a water looks like when I see it, and I've come up with this sketch here so that I can turn it into a nice composition. So to me, the composition is important. The process is important. I'm a process-oriented painter, and the result's important to me, but I'm also much about the process. So I use my palette knife a lot, and I use my brushes. So I use kind of both of them back and forth. So when I did this painting originally, and I'm going to try to do it again, I started off with this black and white sketch, and to get a pattern. So what was important to me was getting some light going through here, so that instead of this being such a solid barrier to the movement of the painting. So I broke it up pretty much right here, and I'm also trying to break it up a little bit here. So I'm just going to take right away and mix up some dark.
Can you tell me what colors you have on your palette?
Sure. So this is manganese blue, This is ultramarine blue. This is alizarin crimson, which I don't always put on because I'm a big fan of this color, which is quinacridone red by Rembrandt. And so they're both cool reds. Alizarin is just a little darker. And I like alizarin as well. This is a red cadmium and red light, cadmium red light. And this is cad yellow medium. And this is cad yellow light. And down here, so I kind of keep this to be a chromatic palette from dark blue to dark to light, from transparent to opaque, which is pretty much natural for the darks to the lights. But down here is a more of an earth color, and I use Rembrandt's transparent oxide orange. I'm a big fan of it. I like the way it feels, but there's other earth browns too that you could use. And I keep it down here, and on my larger palette, I'll put I call them visitors. They're not necessarily on my constant palette.
And is that titanium white?
That is titanium zinc. It's
Okay.
a mixed white. Okay. And that's what I prefer. This is Rembrandt too. So you get used to choose your own white. I like a kind of stiffer white. And this is the one that I prefer. And if it gets a little too stiff, I can just, mix it up. But I'm going to start with making some piles here. I've got my blue, black, brownie mixture over here. And if you ever want to see what color that is, just add a little white to it. So it's pretty, I don't know if you can see it so well, but let me pull this shade. How's that? Yep. It's a little gray. Okay. So it doesn't have a lot of, color to it, which is fine to me for this sunset, but I may add a little bit of just with that, make it a little browner, another pile right next to it that's just a little browner. Mm-hmm. By putting in a little warmer, by putting in a little bit more of this color, the transparent red. So that's a very transparent pile over there, very dark. And I'm also going to go ahead and put in my lights. So to me, I like to have a the cools and the reds or the warms across the sky, making a transition. So it's not just one big flat. And I see that especially at sunset. So I'm going to go ahead and mix what I think is a nice warm sunset color over here. So this is pretty much how I organize my palette when I'm painting, with the lights on one side and the darks on the other. Color comes naturally to me, so I always have to work really hard for keeping the values. So I've found that this system helps me do that. If I keep my darks here and my lights on one side, it doesn't matter which way you put them, but this is the way I put them. And this is the way I'm used to. So don't move your palette around too much. So here's my big orange pile. I'm going to make a little bit more red over here. Maybe make a real orangey, a couple warms, not too many. Which are going to be in the water, and they're also going to be in the sky. So there's two nice piles of warm. And then in the middle, a lot of this is sort of this down here. I'm going to make a pile of the cooler part of the sky, this blue color. I'm gonna get it, so it's kind of turning green here, so I'm gonna clean that up. And move it up a little bit out of the way and start over a little. Some clean. And a little bluer. So this is mostly ultramarine, but I am going to put just a little bit of manganese in here to get a nice full sky color. So this I've already started, and I'm going to make this into the I'm going to tilt it to sort of that's going to be the transition area. Now I don't have my painting in front of me, and I don't have my painting reference, so it's going to come out different.
Mhm. That's always
Because
exciting.
everything is always a little different.
I can share it in the chat, actually.
So every time I approach, a painting, and the way we all approach it is it's a new day. It's a new, what's important to us, how we're seeing color that day. Everything is different. So you just kind of have to go with it.
Mhm. Folks, I've added the reference photo and the finished painting in the chat. There's links and images you can click on if you'd like to see the reference photo. Closer up.
Well, I'll be very interested to see it at the end of this. Okay. So I'm kind of just making a range of colors just to get myself going. And I know I want to keep a dark color on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting in some paints. And actually, you can't see the size of my palette. So let me go ahead and, the size of my panel, because I have this tape. But let me just go ahead and indicate it for you. So you can see what it is. I think I painted this as a 9x12 originally, and this is smaller than that. So I'm not quite sure what size this is.
8x10ish, maybe.
Looks maybe more like an 8x10.
Mhm.
All right, so let me just start going here. I'm going to go ahead and sort of quickly put in what I see and what is important to me. And I'm changing the photograph, and I'm working more on my original. For some reason, I had this. I don't always have my reference photos, but I did this time. So I want to get this. I don't have. Wait.
Just wondering about your brush. What kind of?
Okay, so this is a nice good brush for just sort of, putting in a drawing for me. And sometimes this is a brand new rosemary brush, so it feels really like a treat. I had to order some brushes because they were in such bad shape. But this has a nice, I can draw a line with it. And it's like, don't be afraid to use your brushes. Just, they're nice tools. I think this needs to be a little bluer. And, it's important, to me, that when I'm painting, I'm kind of at the same time moving my hand around so that I'm not getting always the same brush strokes. No, I probably painted the other painting on panel, and this I'm using a linen. So it's going to also have a different effect. So I'm still kind of layering in this dark area here. And I want to know, I need to know that this shadow, this reflection is going to come down. And it doesn't, I can change it later. Everything's kind of a push and pull at this point. But whatever shape, whatever shapes I make up here, there should be, even if the photograph doesn't indicate them, they should be down here. Okay. So I'm going to probably end up mixing up more paint. I use a lot of paint. Okay. And I also have the indication of this water in my sketch and in my the photograph itself. You can see that there's a direction of the water right down in here. And I kind of want to get that in. So if my sketch is a dark and light pattern, it includes, you know, sort of half tones that are not completely, it's not black and white that I'm painting, but these colors belong in the sort of a darker family, the darker part of your design. It's all about the design. Okay. I may start picking up some paint with my palette, because it's this canvas is telling me I need to do that.
Can you dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, so as I'm laying the paint down, I'm feeling like there's not this canvas, whatever kind of canvas it is, I don't know what it is, that I picked up. I think it's actually I think I'm starting to think it's not linen at all, but it's kind of holding on to the paint instead of sucking it in. So I'm finding that I don't want any kind of medium in here right away. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in quickly, especially since the demo is sort of short. I'm doing this very fast. Okay. So there's kind of this. I'm going to go ahead and mix a little bit more in this area here. This watercolor, the color of the water, which is a little bluer right at my feet, right where we're standing at sunset, because I've observed this, and darker and a little, you know, warmer towards the light. But this is a winter day, so the light is, you know, different. I'm going to go ahead and use a different brush here. Oops, there goes my light. And go ahead and start getting in. Use a much larger knife here, much larger pile. So also the other thing I'm noticing too is, and I don't usually use this surface, I usually use either glass or I use a, put some of this in there too. I use a piece of wood, but it's different painting right on paper. So I'm going to go ahead and get some of this sky up here.
So, Lynn, sometimes you paint with the palette knife and sometimes with the brush?
That's exactly right. So I'm right now, I'm kind of holding both of them in my hand, and whatever's working for me is what I'm going to play with. So, you know, as you're learning, just try using both of them. And then after a while, it becomes kind of a muscle memory. You know which one you might need at any given point. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So there's my sun. and the warm part of my painting. Here's a little bit more of the sky down here. And I want some of it to go through these trees. And then, kind of down in here. So even though this, I can break that up later, I want to know that this is a gateway sort of to get up into the rest of this painting. So this doesn't become a barrier, even though it is. Just visually, I'm gonna mix up some more of this lovely so sometimes it's nice to put these water ripples in right away, even though you may paint over them, just so that you know where they are. And you go back in perspective. I'm gonna go back to use this little shorty. So experiment with these brushes and see what's working. It might work at one time and then something else might work at another. You just have to sort of play with it.
If anyone has questions, feel free to pop them in the chat or just turn on your microphone and go ahead and ask.
So I love painting water because it feels so correct to me. It feels like it's such a joy. It's something I know how to do because I've been, I grew up next to the water, but it's also, it's so sort of forgiving.
Mm.
It's forgiving for somebody who has a heavy hand. Oops, I'm getting a little bit of white in there. So basically I just have sort of 3 colors on my palette. So these winter scenes are kind of nice that way. Or sunset scenes. Okay, so I still want to get, so I'm still pretty thin through here. It's not too thick. It's thicker coming forward than it is, back here. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more of this. I have to be aware of where where the shore kind of is, where I want it to be. Oops. And I do see that there's in this photo, I don't know in my original, but I could see that shore right in here as being sort of like a marsh. But this is kind of important to come down. This light here. And this too, which is a little paler, maybe a little pinker. So this thing is in my way, but normally I would pick up my palette, put it there, and then, you know, right down there, so that I create as I was saying before, an entrance, but it's not going to be as vivid or as strong as this part over here, which could even go a little stronger if I wanted to.
We're at the 30-minute mark, just, you know, Lynn.
Okay. Oh,
I'm loving those warm pastels.
okay, and then coming back to the sky up here, I want to get the whole thing kind of covered and really put some of this blue over there. And I have to tell you where this tape is, because I'm painting right on top of it. Okay, so let's see what I've got. I think I might need to, so I've been using a lot of brush, and then I feel like some of these trees could use a little bit of some knife going through. This needs to somehow or another come down into the water. So the water reflections, you know, kind of come down towards us. Still use some more reds in there. Oh, I really opened it up in that painting here. I mean, in my sketch. Don't want to lose that. All right. So let's just say at this point, kind of sort of said quite a bit about what I want to be important in the water and in the sky, and stand back, sort of look, maybe it doesn't need to be that dark there, that light. So this here, now the water is pretty warm, and there's this cool ice that's sitting kind of on top of it, but it's also in shadow. So I am gonna, and it's in order, so the water is, if the water is kind of laying flat, give it some more of that, then I'm gonna put the ice that sits down on top of it. Maybe even a little bit more. It's too warm. A lot of color mixing. So is it warmer than that? So it's sort of sitting maybe a little darker. I don't really want it to totally break the this going here, just sort of slow it down. And this is all palette knife, and I'm really loading my brush up and kind of having fun with it. And the ice is a little sort of darker, the shore, the blue. So, I'm still sort of loading this up. It looks too blue, so it starts to look like the way sky might sit. Like this. Icy or neutral. This I'm thinking over in this photograph, I'm not sure if that's the rippling of water or if it's ice, but I'm going to treat it like it's the rippling of water, which may get a different sort of feel than ice. Piling up on the edges here, and even in a little bit of it piling up on the edges over here. And then get the water to be have a different feel to it. Really loading up. Really loading up my brush here. So that this feels like ice and this feels like water. So even though they might have some of the same colors in them, there's a different feeling to them. Oops, that is white red. So might need to mix up a little bit more here. I mixed up a lot of red for this painting. It's okay when I mix up too many colors. What I usually do at the end is I put them in a pile. So since my palette's already separated, my mixing palette here is already separated, I can take those and divide it in half and make a beautiful light, warmy pile of mud and then a darker one. So anybody have any questions? I'm almost done here.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can. Do you want me to zoom in on this painting a little bit?
Hi, I've got a question.
Yeah.
Are you using any medium during the painting or just a plain paint?
Am I using what?
Medium like some
No.
solvent.
No, I'm not. I'm just using paint. I have a little bit of Gamsol here that I used in the beginning, right? But that's pretty much it. I'm not using a lot of medium. I mean, sometimes I do use some, but I rarely ever use a lot. To me, the paint has plenty of oil in it, so I don't find that I need it. But I'm also I paint heavily, and I might have, we all have a different hand. So this painting like this suits me. I just works.
Mhm.
I sometimes put it out on my palette thinking I'm going to use it, and it just doesn't happen. So I think I just want to put a couple more.
So how
I'd
do,
like this. Yes.
oh, sorry, how long would it take for this to dry?
It depends. Sometimes the paint, if I haven't quite figured out why sometimes it takes longer to dry than other times, but sometimes the paint seems to have a little more oil in it, and maybe it's the environment too. But it'll take a little bit longer. So I'm just kind of putting in just more solid flows of ice in here so that it looks like ice and not necessarily water. It's kind of a tricky thing to do, but fun.
It's looking lovely. So when you started, Lynn, were you always a loose impressionist painter, like with the painterly style, or was this something you worked towards?
It's interesting you say that because I was going through some of my stuff from childhood. And it's like, I guess I really painted heavily from the get-go. I found this painting that was just a ton of paint. But some days I paint heavier than other days. I've never had the desire to paint really thin.
Lovely. Now, I noticed in your mentorship group that starts November 20th, you have a few specialties, artistic process and mindset, finding your style and color. And you're
Yes.
emerging artists. Can you talk a little bit about mindset?
Yeah. So the sort of when you approach a painting, you kind of have to think about, what is it you want to say? What is it about the scene that you're looking at, or maybe how you're feeling? It's like we all want to paint a pretty picture, right? But the process is really important. So it's we're kind of telling people it's a communication. We're joined with other people through our paintings. So getting in touch with what our mindset is important. It's important. It's important to me. It's important to the process. I think I'm going to put that as a piece of ice. I just feel like it is. I don't know if it is or not. It could be a thin piece of ice.
And then color is another specialty. Can you give me a quick Cole's notes?
Yeah, sure. So, mixing colors is important to me, and creating a harmony. So when you have a painting, just I mentioned it when we started here, there is a color harmony, and this is the color harmony. It's right here on your palette. So if you create this beautiful palette of color, you create, then it's in the painting too. So we can talk a lot about, what colors go well with other colors, what colors we respond to, what colors aren't working, how, which ones to limit, which ones to put in, who works with what colors work with what. yeah, that it is kind of, it's something that's a little intuitive to me, but still it's something that we all can think about when we're starting a painting. And evaluating your own work. You know, why do we choose certain colors?
And that's
Is
probably in line with mindset too.
Mhm. It is. It is in line with mindset. But it's also, you know, what's gonna work. A lot of it is experiment, right? So I don't know where I read this great quote, but maybe it was just on Instagram recently. It was like, there are no mistakes. I didn't make it. You can't make any mistakes because we're learning. There's no mistakes in learning. But you know, experimenting. It's just paper. It's just canvas. It's just paint. So I think that you know, if you should be having fun. It's everyone says, "Oh, it looks like you're having fun." Well, it's also work, right? There's no getting away from that. But yeah. So, and there's this push and pull thing that I'm seeing going on here. So not only is the water, the reflection underneath kind of glowing through here, the blue ice is sort of sitting on top. So if you paint this painting, I think that's an important part of this painting, is how these two, the cool and the warm, how is it relating to each other, and also the texture. So texture is also kind of important to me.
Loving that orange that you just added in the sky.
In the sky, yeah, I think it kind of needed to be there. And you know, I'm sitting here right up close to it, but sometimes it's important to sort of step back and look at your work. I think I might even put a little, I'm going to just sort of, because I have this flow of water going this way, I'm just wondering what it would happen. You know, this is part of the experiment, and I have a little bit of a glare, so I can't see it. What would happen if a little bit of this ice sort of sat down on top of the movement? Just to balance this out. Maybe this doesn't need to be up so high. So there's a lot of playing. So you know, I haven't used that many brushes. These are the brushes that I've used. I've used just these 3 brushes and a couple. It looks like I've just used one knife, right? One triangular knife for this one small painting. If you get, in my opinion, if you get these piles going here, if you get a color harmony right here, and you mix up enough paint, then you know you're half of it's done. You know, it's just paint by numbers and plain.
How do you help artists find their style?
I like exercises. I like playing with knives. So it becomes a muscle. When you do one thing, I was saying it becomes a muscle memory. So if you're constantly, you know, doing the same thing, you might not find what is so exciting to you if you don't experiment. So the more you do, the more you experiment, then it becomes, well, this isn't just the play, you know, it's like I'm playing, but it's also part of my art. You know, it's like, this isn't the fun Lynn and then the unfun Lynn. And the more you play, the more you find your style. you know, maybe you're sitting here and you're like, well, heck, I don't really need all those brushes like she does. And you didn't know that before until you started playing. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
a lot of my exercise, a lot of the group will be, you know, try this, try that. What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? What do you like about your work, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, and I have a lot of fun exercises that, you know, lots of people have done. And also it's fun for you to come up with your own fun exercises, your own games.
Yeah, and the playing is good at every stage. I'm in an accomplished group, and we are still playing and learning to go back to playing, because even once you find your style, you don't want it to stop there. You don't, because then you stagnate, right? You always want to be pursuing and pushing it further and seeing what direction it will go. So yeah, I love that. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's like, well, it's good to push ourselves. Otherwise, otherwise things can kind of become like a stick, right? A shtick. You know, we start doing the same things just because we've done them, but we kind of lose, you know, the fun, the excitement.
Yeah.
So, and that's such an individual thing too. You know, what's gonna make somebody, you know, you can't tell somebody what their favorite color is, but you can maybe help them find out what they are.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
that's what I would like to, focus on in the mentorship, is just, you know, just getting to see, well, how other people do it, you know, and how maybe that will work for you. And that's how you find your style.
Mhm.
Style isn't something you can just go out and buy, right? It's something that you have to feel. So
Yeah,
that's
that's great. What's the word? I kind of got stuck with my style because I thought it was like you find it and then you just keep it and you get known for it. And there's some truth to that, but then I really lost the fun. Painting became work. I wasn't having fun in my studio. So it took another, mentor to tell me, no, you need to keep pushing it and trying new things. And sure enough, now it's developing and changing and I'm having fun again. And it's been such freedom really in learning to play, and that's supposed to be a part of our practice.
it is. I always think that, well, it's like you asked me, you know, have I always painted thick? Well, I found these paintings from my childhood, and I guess I have. So you can, in some ways, you can't really help who you are, but you don't want to be stopped by that too.
Mm. Yeah.
So, and so you shouldn't be afraid to try something new because you're afraid you're going to lose something that you're doing. It doesn't work that way. You just keep building.
Yeah, that's right. Good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Are you
So I don't know if this has a glare on it or anything. Let me see.
It looks fantastic.
Okay, and I can, you know, I don't know what the other painting looks like. I don't, you know, it's like every painting is different.
Yeah, I can pull it
So
up. Let me find it again. Okay, I'll share my screen. See if
I'm pretty sure that it's on panel though. So this is on this, you know, I think it's a cotton duck, acrylic, or maybe it might be acrylic based, acrylic primed linen. That's probably what it is, because it's very lightweight.
Yeah, you're seeing this. Did it come up?
I did.
Yeah, a little bit different.
A little bit different, yeah. So I got a little bit more excited about that red in the sky, but yeah.
Lovely. Well, and that's part of the fun. You can repaint the same scene 100 times and it'll always be unique.
That's right.
Any
So
questions, folks? Any comments about what we've been talking about?
I just wanted to thank you so much for today, and it was a pleasure and something completely new for me. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for watching.
And just adding the email address is in the chat, ginger@mastrius.com. So when you're done your painting, you can email it to her. You can also put it on Instagram and tag mastrius.artshow. I'll add that as well. And then we can find them and gather them up. And then we'll meet back here next week, Friday, same time with Lynn and I, and I'll have a beautiful presentation of everyone's paintings and we can celebrate how awesome and different they are. It's such a highlight.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Great.
Well, thank you everyone for coming. Let me just add my face here. Good to see you. I know we had some newbies. You can check out Lynn's mentorship group. I put the link in the chat at mastrius.com. And you'll get an email 2 hours before we meet again next week, Friday. So they'll be right in your inbox, so you can come join us. And if you don't have a painting, you didn't finish, or you don't want to share it, that's okay. Still come and see everyone's work. It's a lot of fun. And I'll give away those prizes too. Oh yeah, and Meet the Mentor on Monday. Thanks, Debbie. So Lynn is doing a Meet the Mentor event with her navigator, Debbie, who's here today. And what are you going to be tackling, Lynn?
I will probably do some demoing.
Awesome.
Probably a still life. Yeah.
Debbie, how do people access that? That will be on our events page at mastrius.com.
That's right. I think they're going to put it on, it's on the events page right now, and there's going to be a reminder. I put a reminder in my Instagram, and I will be posting reminders all weekend with a link so people can sign up. And I think it's going to be amazing.
All right, right here, folks, go to mastrius.com, and under events, you can go to, that's the painting challenge. Actually, if you go to upcoming events, I think that's where we hide it. Meet the Mentor. Oh, it's not on here yet. We've got the painting challenge. Okay, we'll make sure we get that up there. And that will be another free event, which will go on our YouTube channel as well. Perfect. And Danielle says, fascinating to see the process and the different effects. Thanks to both of you. You're so welcome. Awesome.
Thank you.
We will see you all next week. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much, Lynn. That was a real joy to watch you paint so effortlessly.
It was fun. It's always fun. Thank you. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.